Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. This is the first video that I've done in quite a while. It might confuse you a little bit because my handle is Hobonichi Fibers and you can find me on Instagram at Hobonichi Fibers, but I primarily knit. However, I have been getting a lot of questions on my journals and my planners and kind of how do I use it, you know, those kinds of things. So I just figured it'd be the best to try to do a YouTube video. Now this is going to be a pretty lengthy video, so I'm going to try to put timestamps at the bottom because I want to briefly talk about my journaling system for 2023, which are all these, and then I'll go, I have a few things that I want to talk about in here because I've gotten a lot of questions, and then I'll go into the Hobonichi itself, which is my everyday carry. So I'll put a timestamp of specifically when I go into Hobonichi and my setup. I think I'll just put like the number and then Hobonichi dive in or setup. So anyways, that being said, so as of right now, I don't really plan to have two separate accounts for like journaling or planners and that kind of stuff and my knitting, because the hope is that I do start up my knitting podcast again, but we'll see. I been on and off about wanting to do it or not, but anyways, it's neither here nor there. You're here to see about my planners. So before I get into this, because these two are really my primaries, what I carry with me every day, I'm going to briefly talk about, if people are really curious about specifically this, which is my common planner and how I plan to do it, I guess leave a comment below and let me know, and then we'll kind of go from there. But I haven't really set it up. I have ideas, but yeah. So yeah, this is my common planner for 2023 Sterling ink. I was using a Hobonichi A5 cousin, and like many other people, it just was too big for me, and I just wasn't really thrilled about it. I felt, I don't know, I didn't really like the blank pages when I missed a day. If you know what the Hobonichi cousin is, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyways, so this is basically what I plan to use for, you know, my weekly, my monthlies, and my dailies, which I'm really appreciative that this is all blank. And then you have, you know, your setups and stuff like that. So it's in my Moterm cover, which as of right now, it's gonna stay in until I get my Lauren Phelps design clear cover. And then I plan to put it into my Chicsparrow. I don't know what this is called, the folio, I guess. Either way, I'm gonna put it in here because this just lays a little bit more flat. Obviously, this will, which I don't really plan to keep this on there because I don't plan to really take this out of my house, so I don't really need it. But this lays really flat, which is a big thing for me, and it's one of the biggest complaints that I have about the Moterm, because I just feel like with this back flap, it just doesn't sit flat, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, it annoys me. So yeah, this is going to be my journal, primarily my journal. It's where I'm going to have all my information in, which is why I probably won't do a crazy flip through as the year goes on and I start to write in it, because again, it's not really leaving my house. That's the whole plan. And I just do crazy brain dumps if I have a hard day, if, I don't know, my cats annoy me, or I'm kind of not feeling well and I don't know, my husband says something and annoys me, it all goes in here. So yeah, but that's gonna be really how this is gonna work. So that being said, I have my Hobonichi Mega in a Plannerroomshop cover. But this one specifically is a work planner. So I'll kind of do a quick flip through them. There are plenty of, if you just kind of YouTube Hobonichi Weeks, there are plenty of people who do a far better job at explaining all the differences between last year and this year, between the Mega and the sneaker, I think, or just the regular. I'm not really going to do all that, but what I will show you is kind of what is housed in this one. And I bought these two specifically from the Hobonichi store in Japan, but you can find them on Amazon and all those kinds of things. So you get your year at a glance, you get your previous year and your following year. I don't really use either of these, to be honest with you. So it's nice, but I don't really use it that much. I do like this because I think this is a different feature than the past one. So, which is kind of cool. I just really haven't used it. So then you get this, which a lot of people use as a tracker. It's how I plan to use it in my personal one, which I'll show you once we get to there. For work, I'm not really sure because honestly, I just need to keep things separate between work and my personal stuff, just so my brain doesn't explode. And I don't, these are all going to be blank. So I'm not really sure how or if I will use this, but at least for work, I'm not going to use it. And then you have your monthly that goes all the way to, I believe it's March 2024, which is kind of cool. What I did this previous year was any like dates that I had, like future dates, I honestly just kind of wrote them in here and then I transferred them over. So even if it was, I don't know, August of 2023, right? I would just write it in here and then I transfer it over. It's basically how I use this. But it's kind of nice. And then you can go right into, you can start this, which a lot of people are doing this week. I don't know if I mentioned it. Today is Monday, the 28th. November 28th. So a lot of people are probably already moving into the Hobonichi because you can start it on November 28th. But what I really like is that it's got the, your weeks up here, obviously the month, the dates, and I'm pretty much digging this portion down here because now it's in English. Whereas the last one, I think this is the first year that they're doing this. All the other ones have been in Japanese. And I really like them. I think they're really cool quotes, especially this one, which I just thought was really cool because, as I mentioned before, I'm a knitter. So I just thought that was really beautiful. I haven't gone past that because I really want to read them as the weeks go on. But yeah, again, this is not going to be like, this one's kind of pretty, or try to make it pretty. This is, like I said, just for work. I just need to write down, what do I need to do this week? What is a priority versus not? If there's like an important meeting, those kinds of things, and then write down certain things that change. Because there's a lot of stuff that changes in my job, which is fine. I just need to find a system to keep track of it. So that being said, you have all the weeks. And I don't really see myself sharing this one because, again, it's just work. I'm not going to be decorating it crazy, if at all. Then you get your notes pages, which I will do the same system that I'm doing in here, and I'll show you in a second, but I'm going to make this an index and then number the pages and then what happened that day, what I wrote on that page, basically. Like I mentioned, a lot of stuff changes or there's updates or anything like that, and it gets kind of hard to keep track of. So what I plan to do is, like, I don't know, if something changes at work and I happen to write it on the second page, in my index for page 2, I'll write, the main thing about it. So that's way I can have an easy reference. Yeah. And then it goes, there's one thing I can't show you. And then you have this stuff. Again, because this is work, I don't really know how I'm gonna use this. But you get this in the Hobonichi Weeks. And then that's it. So that's a quick walkthrough. Again, if you really want more in-depth things, there are so many YouTube videos out there that will explain it far better than I can. This is my everyday carry. I'll go into this really quickly. This is also in it doesn't have everything, but this is also in a Plannerroomshop. This one is a little bit thicker than this. I don't know if you can see that. This is just slightly thicker. So I don't know if that really matters to anybody, but it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's really simple. I just needed to cover this. And I like the dark because, again, I carry it with me everywhere. I throw it everywhere. I'm not that nice on my planners. I probably should be, but I'm not. So, and what I ended up doing was I took a B6 Stalogy and I did a very, very poor job. I don't know if that actually gives a true representation, but that's a little better. I did a super poor job of cutting it down myself. But lesson learned, thanks to Taylor. I'll put her handle down here because I actually bought this Moterm cover off of her, and then yeah, she cut down her Hobonichi, and I ended up messaging her, asking her, you know, how did you get it so straight and all that kind of stuff, because I mean, look at this, it's like all over, it's so wonky. But she told me she went to Staples and they cut it down for her. And so that is what I'm gonna do moving forward. But that being said, this goes with this because this is really just a brain dump kind of journal, planner, notebook, whatever you wanna call it. I literally just have everything and anything in here. It's, you know, my family and I play Werewolf, which is a game. We have a lot of game nights, and, you know, it's just a catch-all for everything. I think I was testing out pens over here. Crock pot recipes. Like, it's just everything. And the reason why I do that is because sometimes I feel very scattered-brained and I just need to write down literally everything that's in my head. And I know it sounds weird, but I'm sure many can appreciate this. I don't want to just do it in this because I want to keep this kind of neat and kind of cute and all that other stuff. So this allows me to kind of get all that kind of stuff out. Same thing with, like, I went shopping today, so I wrote down my shopping list, my meals for this week with my husband. It just allows me to it gives me the freedom of just writing whatever I want, not really having to worry about my penmanship or, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it's just nice for me. The other thing I really like, and what I do, or what I plan to do, is when I would go away for a weekend or go, like we went to Peru, for example, I try to bring all my stuff, right? Because I wanted to journal about it. And what I found was, one, I didn't have a lot of time to journal. And two, I overpacked because, again, I didn't have so much time to do it. And it just was just a lot of clutter. I would bring stickers, I'd bring my portable printer, I bring it all, or I tried to. So going forward, and I hope this works, and I think it will, because it kind of worked this past, this past weekend. It was Thanksgiving here in America, so we went away for the holiday with family, and I really just brought these two. And there's a reason why I bring this, because I track things daily, and that's why I bring it. But this, my goal is, when I go away, is to write what happened that day, you know, the date, write it down, and then back plan it into, not necessarily this, if I'm going on like a 2-week vacation, but to back plan it in this. So this way I can kind of, one, clean it up, because sometimes I just write whatever and it doesn't even make sense. And two, I can use, you know, my stickers the way I want to use my stickers and not have to feel like, oh, I only brought these stickers, so I have to use it. It just eliminates all that for me. And personally, for me, I don't mind back planning. I love to write. It's fun. It's very soothing and relaxing to me. So it just gives me the option to write a little bit more. And yeah, so that's basically my plan. My plan is to have this. It will be like, you know, November, whatever. I'll write it. And then when I get back home from wherever I'm going, I'll write it in my common planner. And that's it. This way, really all I really need is this. And it's just fantastic. I really, really like this setup. So that's what I use this for. And the other thing is, once I'm done with this notebook, it's going in the garbage. I don't really need it for anything else. I keep my common planner or like my journals and my Hobonichis. So then going into Hobonichi, so I'm gonna go about how I use it, like that's not the word, like the outer portion of it, and then I'm gonna go into the actual thing. So this is also another Chicsparrow pen loop thing. I really like it because really these are the only things I need. I have my whatever this is, midliner. I don't know what color this is, but it's whatever that is, but it's my midliner and it's this color. And I really like it. It's neutral. But when I need to highlight some stuff, then I have my Hobonichi, you know, the 3-color pen. This is from 2022. I just really like it. The one from this year is this one. Is this one? I don't really care. I just need it to do its job. So, and then I have my Vanishing Point extra fine pilot pen, which I really love. I know it's probably, oh, it just got super dark out because I think there is a cloud covering the sun. Hold on. I don't know if that will work or help, but we're just gonna roll with it. I know that probably Vanishing Point is a little bit overrated for some people, but I absolutely love it. I don't know how to do this. Does this work? How do these people do it? Sorry, guys. Anyways, doesn't matter. It's an extra fine point. I use it a lot for journaling. I just really love it. I know it's expensive, but it really makes me happy. So that's all that matters, right? So this is really all I need when I go out, because just in case this runs out, I end up using this because I really like how it works in the planner. And sometimes I'll just use this if I'm doing quick marks and I don't have time to let things dry, because this ink, although it's fast, it does take a little bit of time. So this is in my Moterm cover. I'm just gonna take this off to make it a little bit easier. I don't normally take it off. I have my Hobonichi out. This is also a mega. I have it out right now just for this video purpose because it's a pain in the butt to get in. I don't know if anybody, not to get in, I'm sorry, to take out. I don't know if anybody else struggles with it. It's probably the cover, the clear cover that I have on top of it. But I didn't want to deal with it, so just for now, I have it out. So before I go into this, I'm just gonna go into my pockets because one, I feel like everybody else does it, so I'm gonna follow that train right now. But I really want to talk about this and the other thing in here because I get a lot of questions about it, and I think it helps me, so I don't know if it'll help anybody else. So really quickly, I don't really decorate this like everybody else. Y'all are just great. And I wish I was creative and cute, but it just doesn't work for me. So So I just have a moon. I don't know. I think that came from some purchase. I have Samus. I love her. I just have some stickers that I need, you know, that are used. That was her name before. She goes by Sweet Freckle Designs now. So, you know, birthdays. We are currently watching the World Cup, recycling, those kinds of things. So I have like a sweater, wetter, die cut. I just have some little sticky tabs that I'll show you how I use in it, but yeah. Then I have Appa from Avatar, and then I have a female Mandalorian. She's so cool. I really like her. I think we got these at Comic-Con. So if you haven't, or you can't tell, I'm a little bit of a nerd, and I love it. A little bit more on the gamer side too, so it's pretty great. And then I just have some, you know, die cuts from Sweet Freckle Designs, the Coffee Monster Co., Sterling Ink, you know, those kinds of things. I don't typically use this back pocket. I just have one of these in there right now, which is probably like, honestly, if Moterm made this vegan tan leather without the back pocket, I'd probably be so much more happy. That's not even English. I'd be happier. It kind of lays flat now, but it's one of my biggest complaints is that it doesn't really lay flat, and it kind of annoys me. So, but given the feel, the look, and the price of it, it's really good. And I am not gentle on my journals or planners or whatever you want to call them. I toss them everywhere. I actually just had a mark today. I don't know what that is, but it is what it is. It's doing its job that I need it to do. So some people probably are cringing right now, but it is what it is. I just have this like little stencil thing, and then a pencil board. And then what, I think this is Test Designs. I don't know. I don't remember what the printout, because I ended up cutting it off so that it would fit in my planner, but I'll link them below, and I'll put their name on the screen for you. But it's a trifold. This is the personal size, if I'm not mistaken, because that's the size that I use in my rings. But it's whatever her thing is. And I use this for our vacations, for my husband and I's vacations, and to mark out holidays and stuff. But we just like to see, specifically me, although he finds it beneficial as well. So when if we take a sick day or a vacation day or whatever the kind of thing, where we're gonna go on where is it? If we're gonna go on a long vacation for 2 weeks. We just went to Peru for 2 weeks, right? So I wrote that in there so we can kind of see at a nice glance, what days we took off or what kind of days we took off. And, sometimes it's like, oh, we have no days off in March. And, I've worked straight through, and I don't know about anybody else, but sometimes I'm sure most of us get burnt out. And I'll occasionally look at this and be like, no, I need to take a mental health day, and I'll take a sick day, and I'll just do what I need to do, because it gets a lot. So that's what we like to use this for. I have a key somewhere, but it's pretty straightforward, where it's, P's are personal, S's are sick days, vacation or vacation, F's are for floating holidays, those kinds of things. So really convenient. It's the full year. And so I have it tucked in here, and then at the end of the year, I will just keep this in here, and I'll just tuck it in the, only one went through, but you get the idea. I'll tuck it in here, and then I'll store it away that way. Yeah. So, and then I have these two. This one is my finance, so I'm going to go into this so you guys can see it. This is just a plain one. I have it back here on the off chance that I don't have this one with me, just for whatever reason it gets too bulky or whatever. I have this with me so that it will serve as the same thing and I don't have to worry about that. So this is my finance planner that I get a lot of questions on, and I think it would be really helpful. I did a lot of searching on YouTube and stuff, so this is what I use. Now it's not going to stay in my Moterm cupboard. It's actually just going to stay in my office because I plan to like update this like once a month or something. But generally, let me just see something. Yeah, it's fine. I have a few things marked in here, you know, because whatever. So this is my 2023 whatever. And basically what I wrote is like, so what I plan to do is, you know, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not anything. This is just how my brain works. And this is just how it helps me and my husband, specifically me, not so much him, but I have all this stuff here. Sorry. So I have my fixed monthly things. So anything that is, I obviously didn't write what our mortgage is, but anything that is a reoccurring bill, that doesn't change in the dollar amounts. So like our mortgage typically doesn't change, right? It's the same amount. And then I just mark when it comes off. So the way that my husband and I do our thing, not to get too crazy or too into it, because I don't know, people are weird about money and all that kind of stuff. But we have a shared account that we use for like, you know, our homes and mortgage, PSE&G, which you'll see down here. We have a shared account that we use for like our shared living type of things. Then I have my own thing that I personally pay, right? Like I have my Patreon. I actually have to change that. Spotify, those kinds of things, my Peloton, blah, 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 right? And then the same thing for him. Like, I think he has Apple TV or something. Oh no, yeah, that's different. But I think he has Apple TV, whatever it is that he pays as well on his own, from his own accounts. I'll write them there. I just haven't really sat down with him to do it, but that's basically it. So I don't really care that you guys can see that. Doesn't matter. I don't really need you seeing all that. So then you move into this. This is the same thing, right? I broke it down by months, but and I'm sorry. So just so the numbers here are the days that is kind of like an auto, you know, they fluctuate a day or two depending on like holidays and all that other stuff, but that's basically when they will come out of the account. And then the same thing is for here. So right now I have our water bill, our Verizon bill, our PSE&G, and our Terminix bill. Now our Terminix bill typically stays the same, but I noticed this last year that it would fluctuate very little, but still would fluctuate. And, you know, we called and stuff. So this will just help me keep track to make sure that it stays where it needs to be. Our PSE&G obviously will fluctuate from month to month. And so I'm generally curious to see what months we use more because of the heater and the AC and stuff like that. So, yeah. Verizon is the same thing as the Terminix. What I noticed was that it would fluctuate very little, not a lot, but some months would be a little bit higher than it should have been. So it's a good way for me to keep track of that. And you know, kind of ensure that they don't, you know, overcharge us or undercharge us or whatever the case is. And then obviously our water bill will fluctuate. We do it on a quarter, but our water bill will fluctuate. So it kind of gives me an idea of like how much water we're using. I would imagine in this area we would use more because of the garden outside and all that other stuff. So anyways, it just really helpful for me to kind of see, and then I have room to add more if I need to, but as of right now I think that's okay. Same thing, like it just happened to be that, you know, the car insurance I pay off of my account, no big deal, whatever. Like I'm not going to get all to that, but the car insurance, make sure that it's one being paid on the month and that it doesn't fluctuate. And the Chewy order, I have 2 cats. I end up just paying it from my account, so I have it under me. And, you know, that will fluctuate from month to month because sometimes I actually don't really need to order as much as I do. with my cats, I'm constantly, not constantly, but sometimes I will adjust their diet in terms of how many cans they get, because they get cans anyways. And then whatever my husband pays, I don't really, sounds bad, I don't really care too much what he's doing here. It doesn't really matter to me, but he did ask me to track certain things, so that's what I'm gonna do. We just have to sit down. Then we have our paychecks. Again, because what's the word I'm looking for? Sometimes we have overtime, so just to see the differences there. And then this is really important for me, is my hobby spending. I'm really trying to, you know, I think most of us are trying to kind of dwindle that down. And so I have a few different hobbies, or what I like to collect, whatever you want to call it. But I have knitting yarn, journals, which are journals and planners, books, whether it's audiobooks or Kindles or physical books, pottery. I love to collect handmade mugs. Again, being a knitter and doing handmade objects and stuff, making handmade stuff, I really love handmade mugs. And I went through a period where I spent a lot of money on it. This last year it was okay, but whatever. Plants, if I could show you, my husband says we live in a jungle, but I'm looking at it now. We have a lot of plants. I have a lot of plants. Let's be fair. Plants, garden. I really plan to do my garden this year. So I just kind of want to see how much I'm spending. And then, you know, beauty, nail, hair kind of thing. I don't really do, as you can kind of see, I don't really do my nails that often anymore. I used to do them, you know, every month. But I've cut back on all that because I can just, although it's kind of rough right now, but I could just do them myself. And then my cat gets medicine. She's old. So just to see, honestly, it's more to see how often I have to refill her stuff, not so much how much I pay. I just want to make sure that it's like kind of consistent. And then savings, you know, personal, what we share, and then our home kind of stuff. So that's for me and Lewis. And yeah, that's that. I got a lot of questions on how I was tracking finances. And this is what I think is going to be working the best for me this year. And then we can always adjust next year. So now to go into the Hobonichi Weeks, since really that's what you guys are here for. But so I will put a timestamp of whatever this is, which is 32 minutes. That's ridiculous, 33 minutes, but sorry guys, I like to talk apparently. So going into this is just a blotting card, nothing crazy. You can get this off of Amazon. I think if you just put blotting paper, you get a pack of 10. So if you guys couldn't tell, I have my Charizard. He's like my little gold-plated Charizard. He's so cool. So I have him here. And because I track the weather, so I just use this Hobonichi stencil, my grandma's little thing. I like to keep it with me. And this is I love this one. I try to minimize it a little bit by keeping it back there, but anyways, I just did a little bit of deco, nothing too crazy. I will be honest, I don't think I would do this thing next year. It's just, personally, it's a little annoying for me, but whatever. Hold that thought. Gotta overthink everything. That is really true. I don't even know where I got that from, to be honest with you. I got this in Yellowstone or Grand Teton this year. My favorite color is Sunset. I don't want to use my stickers, so I just kind of stick them there. And I have a Wolverine die cut. He's my favorite. And again, I don't really want to use him up, so we're just gonna stick him there and call it a day. And then I have Deadpool because, you know, Wolverine and Deadpool are coming out with a movie and I'm kind of losing my mind about it. And then I just put some stickers of my cats and then me and my husband. I originally had this in here, but I used tape and it kind of fell out. So I have to use a different kind of sticky thing in there. But anyways, so for this view, so you have your year at a glance, your 2022 and then your 2024. I don't know what I'm going to do. What I did for last year and it worked really well, and what I'm doing for this year, I guess I'll figure this out later. It doesn't really matter. But I used these. Nope. I use these. I use these clean dot. I think that's cleared. Clean color dot. You can see they're like these little things. What I will say is these are really, really light. So they get the job done, but I probably would have gotten a little bit darker. But basically what I ended up doing was I just made a dot of when I get paid. So the paydays, since I get paid every other Friday, and then the holidays, what holidays I have, and then the extra holidays because my husband has just a few extra holidays, specifically in October and November. So yeah. Oh, by the way, since I don't know if anybody will ask, because I imagine that if you're coming here, you probably have seen 1,000,001 other YouTube things. But these tabs are the Midori index tabs, and I got them from JetPens. So this is what I plan to use. I plan to use this as a workout tracker. And I just have like this little key here where it'll be like the physical bike, because I have a Peloton, cycling for, I'm sorry, I lied to you. The physical bike is the bike outside. This cycling, which is my Peloton, if I do a HIIT workout, if I'm going walking or yoga. So these are basically what I plan to write here. Now, if it's just like, if I happen to just do, walking one day, I'll just put walk. But I ended up breaking out between the letters because on the off chance that I do, I don't know, a cycling and a yoga session, I can mark the two of them down. I just want to try to be a little bit more active this year and, I guess like everybody else, lose some weight and all that other fun stuff. So, so that's basically how I'm going to be using this. And then up here, I probably will wait to the end of the year, just on the off chance that God forbid I lose this. I don't know if I really want people to see my weight. I don't know. I'm like weird like that. But I'll write down my weights up here and probably my measurements to see what happens throughout the months. So that's my plan. So I ended up moving into my Hobonichi Weeks in November. I basically took my last year's work planner and I took out the November and December's and I tipped them in. So it's not the best, but it allowed me to get in early and I'm happy with it. So anyways, this is just, this is basically how I end up using it. It's just, I need it to be all encompassing of what is going on because, if we're going to a doctor's appointment, I need to know when we went to, like, for my cat or my husband or anything like that. So I typically do not really pre-fill this up until after the year, like with stickers, until after the month is done. Like, I put these down because it was, I put them down on Sunday, basically. Nothing happened. So I will go back and like fill in some things to make it kind of cute. But I typically wait till after the month to pre-fill things in with stickers because, to put stickers in after because I need it to be functional for me. And like my battery died on my car, so I wrote that down. Anyways, So, and these are those sticky notes that I was telling you about. I actually, now that we are going into December in a few days, I can actually write some of this stuff down and call it a day. But yeah, and as you can see, I have these little sweet freckle design number signs. It's just to mark down my paydays. And then I have like these little birthday presents here where I wrote whose birthday it was, because I found that last year I was taking up a lot of room to just write, because you can see it's a small box, to write whose birthday it was, and it just wasn't helpful for me. So I found these little stickers that I just put in the right hand corner, and then at the bottom, because I don't really use this, or I don't really have a plan to use these sections down here. Again, because this has to be more functional than pretty. Personally, my common planner can be kind of cute. And yeah, I just wrote down the birthdays and stuff, and it, as of right now, it's working really well for me. So, and then I just, you know, these things I can move around if I need to. If I can get it, I'd show you. I can move them around, no big deal. So I did the same thing with the November. Again, I did a crappy job of tipping it in, but I don't care. It gave me what I needed it to do. So I just write down the weather, the highs and lows, and then the sunrise and sunset. And then sometimes I'll do a tracker, sometimes I won't. Most of the time I'll do a tracker, just to fill up the spot. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of how I'm using this right now. I like, I didn't tip it in right, so this is what this looks like. But basically, when you go into your December, I basically will have my tracker up here, a weekly to-do list that I need to put here, my weather, and then I sometimes will block this off where if there's like events that are going down, like I'm still in physical therapy because of my foot, so like write that down. Or if like we're going to his aunt's on Saturday or game night, those kinds of things, I'll write that down here. And that's basically how I use this. And then when you go back here, I just have a bunch of like notes. But what I plan to do, and I'm not gonna force myself to do it, but what I plan to do is cover this up with like images, like cute images. But I haven't gotten there yet. And again, I don't want to just put something down and then regret it later. So I'll do it a little bit later, no big deal. But this is what I was talking about, and this is what I find, or what I think is really helpful for me. I have an index. So I have the page numbers all along here, right? And they go all the way to 218, which is right here, 218. And what I did was I wrote what, you know, what happened or what that day corresponds to. I do think next year I might not be stingy and I just would do a whole page, kind of like here. Because I like to start like on the right hand side, but I think I would just do a couple extra pages and write it out this way so I have a little bit more room. But that's basically it. And you can see like I have my cycle for my period tracker, and then I wrote here, so like it's covered right now, but like, what is this, page 4? Page 4 is my period tracker. Like I said, I'm a knitter. I love to knit socks, and I love to knit my husband's socks. So I have like his recipe, if you will, my recipe, shoe sizes, so that if I wanted to make gift knits, I can do that, right? I can do that. Cart maintenance, this is really, really helpful, specifically like what just happened now, where my battery died, and I didn't know, what was going on. And then I found out that I changed it in 2018. So like, I just write what happens to my car so we can kind of keep track of what has been done and that kind of thing. And then my doctor's information, or our doctor's information, I covered it up obviously because I don't want anybody knowing where I live. But, you know, our pharmacy, the vet, the emergency vet, because sometimes we need that, and then like cardiologists. We have a couple more doctors that I have to write their information down, but I basically have like their address, their phone number, their fax number, because sometimes I found that like specifically a pharmacy, you know, they'll be like, well, what pharmacy? And for some reason, I can't remember the address or anything. And if it's a new place, like the cardiologist when we went, I didn't have that information. So I have it here. It's just an easy reference. And then I go into, I just have some extra pages for doctor stuff. And then I go into, I have this as my workout. So I know it's like repetitive and people might get confused or whatever. It is repetitive from here. So this is just gonna tell me what I did that day versus I have this on a weekly thing because, so I have 1 to 52. I just find that seeing that I did a workout, how do I explain this? Let me use words. I'll mark this off with an X, right? So if I work out Monday, I'll mark it off, Tuesday, whatever. I basically want to see, where am I lacking? Okay, so it's midweek, right? I start off strong, all the Mondays are checked off, and then here comes Wednesday and I'm a little scattered. And it just will help me visually see where I'm lacking in terms of working out and what days I seem to not have as much motivation, so I can try to make it a little bit more apparent to do that, right? So, and it's just gonna be a quick X. I'm not gonna go crazy, but I just think that this view will really help me. And then I have my monthly mood tracker. This was Thanksgiving, so I kind of fell off, but my mood tracker where I track the moon phases, you know, like the main ones, and then I just kind of write. So this right here is my mood. I have my key here. This was when I had my period, so I was like bloated, I had cramps, those kinds of things, just to kind of get a gauge of like what my symptoms are normally, those kinds of things. So, and then I have my November tracker. So again, I broke my foot, so I'm still recovering, although I think I can start working out now. So I'll start doing that. But I just basically track my habits, my mood, and my sleep, because I did this in October in my old one. And there was a strong correlation between how much sleep I was getting and my mood. It was ridiculous. So I have it spread out where it's like my happier moods or my better moods are at the top to kind of correlate with the amount of sleep, and then like if I'm feeling any kind of way at the bottom, and then what kind of knitting projects I'm working on that month. So I have it set up for next month. You know, the same thing, the moon phases, and then I switched it a little bit where I have my sleep, my mood, and my screen time, because I feel like I spend a lot of time on my phone and I want to change that. So I'm hoping that by seeing this will help me kind of get back on track. So, and then I just have it broken up for all the months. And then we go into, I have my day trips, something, you know, if we want to go for a ride somewhere that's not so far, I have them marked like an hour and a half away. And some things that we want to see. I have my to-do list that I want to do for the house, like what do I want to get, what do I need to do, or what I want to do. So I just have them broken down like that. His Advent gifts for his 2023. And again, you can see like, so sometimes I'm like, okay, what else do I need to get for his Advent? Sometimes I do Advents like this year. I don't do it every year, but, and if I just don't feel like thinking about what page it's on, I don't have it tabbed off, I'll just go here and I'll look to see where his thing is. So that's his history. His 2022 is page 52. So I would go to page 52. And then my order tracker, I have the shop, the description, the order number. Although I have the tracking number, I probably won't do that because I can't always fit it in here, so it doesn't really matter. So I'll probably change this to like price and then when I got the stuff. Home maintenance, little things like when we change the filters, that kind of thing. And then we have just like some of our medical things so I can keep track of like when, you know, like when I went to the orthopedic the first time, they were like, when did the injury happen when I broke my foot or fractured my ankle? And I can directly tell them like this on August 22nd, right? So I just have it for me, my husband, and my cats because like I mentioned, Casper's really old, so she's 21. She's doing great, but I need to keep track of like when we did blood work and all that other stuff so that it's just easier for me to see. Oreo's better, but he did have and I basically have 2022 and then I'll put 2023 down here. So I have the 2 years. Oreo's a lot better, but he, you know, in 2022 he had a ruptured gland and it's just easier for me to keep track that way. Places to eat, you know, when we want to do date night, we can do that. Future knitting projects, when I watch podcasts and I want to like jot something down, I'll put it here. And then I just have like my to-do list. So these are typically my to-dos because there's not so much room here. So I just kind of write them here and I try to make it cute with like stickers. Yeah. And then like today's to-do list. And then I basically broke this out. I don't remember. I think it's like 10 pages per month since I started in November of 2023. And I jotted down, you can see, I have plenty of room. But I took this idea from Lindsay Scribbles, just in case I overdid it. But I just have them all marked down basically so that I don't overdo it. And I have my AC and heat tracker. I actually don't know if I'll keep up with this, but we'll see. What I want to see is how many days do we have the heat on and to kind of see how much that works with, you know, where is it? Our PSE&G bill and stuff like that. I'm just really curious about it. And then back here, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to cover these up. I don't really have crazy plans for this. I don't really care. I guess I'll hit that bridge when I get there. But I just broke up my 100 into 4 sections to TV shows we want to watch, movies I want to watch, books I want to read. I don't think I'll read these many books this year. I'll try, but I don't think so. And then vacations, where we want to kind of go if we can make it. And then I don't really care about this page. Don't care. I have just, you know, our like contact information. And then I think I'm going to use this again. It's not really oh my gosh, if I don't use it, I'm going to, whatever. I think I'm going to mark when I do a thing of yoga. I really want to get back to yoga. And I'm hoping that if I mark off every time I do it, it will be more motivating for me to do it. Even if it's just stretching. I think stretching is super important and I just don't do it enough. And my body definitely feels that basically not stretching the way I used to stretch and do yoga back in the day. So I'm hoping that I can get to that, and otherwise I don't really have a plan for that. And then I have this, I think is from Modernly Noted. I don't know. I think so. Anyways, it's a planning routine and I just tipped it in. It's nothing too crazy. And then a trigger list. See, I use tape and that's not really great, but I just have a trigger list that if I want to make more lists, I can do that. And I believe this is a freebie from Marge Plans, but I'm not really sure. So yeah, that was ridiculously long. I'm sorry that it was long, but I obviously had a lot to say. And hopefully you guys don't hate it. And if you made it this long, awesome. If you haven't, I totally understand. But if you have any other questions about things, if you have any questions about anything else, please let me know. Comment below. I guess you can like and subscribe if you'd like. I don't know what this channel would really be just yet, but I'm glad to have you guys along for the ride. And yeah, thank you again, and I'll catch you later. Bye.